Welcome to the She Wins podcast. I'm your host, Heather Sumlin, and I have Sadie Schiermeyer back with me,
Yes.
Miss Texas 2025.
Yes.
And you
Hello.
competed at Miss America.
I did. That did happen since we last
You-
were on the podcast together.
You did, and so I thought I would just have you back. I did this with Ellie when she competed at Miss America and brought her back, and we did kind of like a recap, if you will,
Lovely.
of how it went.
Yeah.
I mean, you did so poorly, though.
Yeah. Just crash and burned, totally. That's a joke. It was a great experience. It was a lot of fun.
She was first runner-up again. So for those of you who don't know, Miss Texas has placed first runner-up 3 years in a row.
That was actually a new record. No state had ever done that before. Fun fact.
So is there anything that you would do differently? And obviously you performed really, really well. But even so, is there anything that you would have done differently in preparation or anything that you wish that the public understood about how this works?
I don't know. I think in preparation, I'm honestly really proud of how everything kind of unfolded. I think for those of you who don't know, Miss America the past several years has been in the winter, in December or January. And so for Miss America to be in September this year was a lot quicker of a turnaround for the prep team and for myself, whoever won their state pageants. It was like, okay, well, you have 2 months. You are learning the role and you are prepping for Miss America. And so I think knowing that we were in this time constraint, I got my evening gown 4 days before we left for Miss America.
And can I say, I loved your evening gown.
Thank you. I did too. Well, I loved my state gown to begin with. And it was, I think if I really fought to wear it at Miss America, they would have let me. I think one of the benefits that I had in my prep team was that they didn't try to change who I was. We kind of talked about that for a moment earlier of they weren't trying to fit me into this mold. They just wanted the most polished version of myself. And so I think if I fought for that gown, they would have let me wear it. But it wasn't from our evening gown sponsor. And of course, we're so grateful for them. And so we wanted to figure out how to highlight our sponsor. I didn't know how we were going to beat my state gown. I loved it so much. And it honestly felt like a very kind little wink from God. I am a follower of Jesus, and back when I was really struggling with my mental health, which if you've listened to the podcast before that I've been on here, I've talked a little bit more about how my platform came to be and overcoming an eating disorder and all of that. But in that season, I had a really tough moment. But I had these practices of every day listing things that I was grateful for, which turned into daily happy things, which is my little social media thing that I do, which hasn't been so daily recently, but it's okay. We'll get back on track.
That's okay. What are your happy things for today?
Happy things today is that you were very gracious with me being late so that I could get coffee.
Okay. That's a happy thing.
That is a happy thing. Also, this dress is new. I've been on like a brown kick recently and I found this and I love it. What else? Happy thing is that school is a little less expensive than I thought it was going to be. There are still some things that we need to work out, but like everything is kind of coming together, which is good.
We're talking about grad school.
Grad school, yes, which I will start my first class next semester, which will be really fun. That might be a spoiler as to what are you doing now.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm getting way off track here. Anyways, with the gown, what happened was as I was listing daily happy things, there was this one day things were bleak, y'all. I was like not having a good day, and I remember sitting at my desk and for some reason getting really fixated on these flowers that were sitting in front of me and just being so grateful that there was something so beautiful that I could enjoy and thinking how cool it was that God created beautiful things. Like he could create a fully functional world that wasn't beautiful, you know? Like somebody once told me he could have created food as sustenance. It didn't have to taste good, right? Flowers could have served their purpose in another way and didn't have to be beautiful. And so I remember like sitting there.
Oh, I never thought about it like that.
And I remember sitting and being so grateful that the flowers were beautiful and being so grateful that I could find joy in something so small and that God was kind enough to sustain random plants like flowers in the wilderness, right? And that somebody had gifted these to me, and it just became a whole thing that day. And from that point on through the rest of my semester at school, this was months, by the way, I somehow went months with always having a bouquet of flowers on my desk that I did not provide. So say that flower bouquet died, wilted, I would throw it away that very same day. Either I'd be gifted flowers from one of my small group students, or, hey, my sorority event is over and they have an abundance of flowers. Here, take a bouquet home. Like, there were a lot of weird circumstances, and I never went a single day. It was always the day that I was like, oh, the flowers are dead, let me throw them out, and I would get a new one. And so it felt like this really sweet little almost inside joke or inside thing with God that he was like, no, look, I can provide you flowers. Like, I'm going to provide for you. And it was so much bigger than just the flowers, but it was something that kind of kept hope for me. And so when we were looking at the gown, we had a moment where we had no idea what I was going to wear. And long story short, and I think I posted a little bit more about this on Instagram, showing the behind the scenes of the sketch and everything. Mm-hmm. But Sergio at Terry Costa found a sample from Sherry Hill that was a red mermaid gown, which we all know and love. That's my favorite. That had flowers incorporated into the skirt. And so from there, the inspiration struck.
And then you added on some here and there. And so it's so pretty.
So it all worked out very well. But it was a really cool and comforting thing for me to be able to bring that with me onto the Miss America stage. It was a reminder of all that I had grown from and what the Lord has done in my life, and then also just remembering that he was there with me on stage as well.
I did not know the background of the flowers. Mm-hmm. That is really, really cool.
It was really cool.
What's your favorite flower?
That's hard. A carnation, I think. But ask me on any day and it might be a different.
Okay, cool.
Carnation tends to be the most consistent. Love carnations, love hydrangeas, love roses, obviously, but any of them, truly.
So what's next?
So,
grad school.
Grad school.
And we're going to school for
a master's in professional counseling.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about that. I was always the nerd that loved school. Like, I am weird in the fact that I like to sit in a lecture and take notes. Like, that, I don't know, it brings me joy, y'all. So I'm really excited. I'll start taking my first class next semester, but it is online and asynchronous because luckily the team at DBU is just awesome and is willing to work with me. And I said, hey, if I have an appearance, I can't back out of the appearance for an assignment, right? Like, I can't, that doesn't work for me. And so, it'll be online and I'm excited to be a nerd again. But beyond that, I mean, I'll be serving as Miss Texas until June, and so I'm still doing appearances and events and speaking at schools and whatnot. It feels like a new adventure every single day, which is pretty cool. But that's kind of it. I mean, I have some more fun personal things coming up, but I think I'm going to let those happen before I announce them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So if we go back to Miss America for a minute, there is this video of you standing with Cassie, who won Miss America. And,
the legend Sadie, that she is.
And Sadie just looks so calm and so just composed. I feel like Cassie is a little less composed than you were.
Sure.
I think she looked fine.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Stunning. What was it that let you be so calm in that moment? Or were you calm? Were you just looked like it and internally you were falling apart? Like, what was going on?
I felt pretty calm. I will say, you and I had conversations before Miss America of, obviously, what's the goal? What do we want to happen? And I think I told you anything but first runner-up. I did say that.
Yes, you did. You said anything but first runner-up. You said top 5 would be amazing.
Yes. Which was also like a competitive thing because my mom was in top 10, but she didn't make top 5. And so I was,
so you wanted to best your mom, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Personally, I wanted scholarship, as much scholarship as I could get out of the week, but also selfishly, I was like, I just want to be my mom. But yeah, so I told you anything but first runner-up. And I said that my only other experience being first runner-up was as a teenager, okay? It was my first year competing at the state level. And I remember when I got first runner-up, I think I had just placed so much of my identity into it that when I lost, it was devastating. Yeah. And I was looking to Miss Texas to tell me my worth and what I was supposed to do with my life. And I think I put too much of myself into the competition. And so when I got first runner-up as a teen, I was floored. It was really cool at first because I didn't expect to do so well. Right. But to stand there with another girl that you really admire and really love and have to wrestle with I like being her cheerleader, but I really want to win and it could be me, you know? Mm-hmm. That is a really devastating moment to, in an instant, learn that you didn't win, but have to face that in front of so many people. Like, you can't skip a beat. Like, I posted the video of me getting first runner-up as a teen, and I was standing there with a girl named Allie Graves, who I was friends with. Like, we were on great terms, you know? And I was so excited that she had won, but especially as a teenager, I really didn't know how to respond. And especially since I didn't expect to be in that position, it's not like I practiced winning or losing in my head. I just was thrilled to be there. And so in that moment, as a teen, all I could think was, let her have her moment. Let me get out of the way. And so I like squeezed her hands and I nodded my head of like, okay, yep, she won. And I waved at the judges and I got out of the way. And only a few weeks ago, I had somebody comment and be like, well, you could have congratulated the girl and whatever. And it's like, well, I did. Right after she was able to have her moment and celebrate and all the things. Like, you never really know the whole situation, but you have a lot of eyes on you in that one moment where you are receiving either the best news or not the news you were hoping for. And so I think that was a lot behind the first runner-up. Like, I don't want to be first runner-up because there's pressure and that moment is filmed and posted everywhere. And yeah, it's just a lot.
Is that why you had such a calming face? Do you think that you're like, everyone is going to see this moment based on the criticism you may have gotten from first runner-up as a teen?
I think two things. I think I was able to feel calm in a way that I didn't anticipate because I knew, first runner-up could be hard, but guess what? I've gotten through that before. Right. Mind you, state is a little bit different than nationals, Absolutely. But it was also like, okay. Yeah. Life went on. Yeah. World doesn't end. And so I got to have a little more confidence in that this time. I think I did this at Miss Texas too. Mind you, it was a different outcome. But I remember standing there with Stephanie at Miss Texas and thinking, well, whether I win or I lose, how cool that I'm here, I want to be able to remember it. And so at Texas, I remember being able to look out in the audience and looking for my people and just wanting to remember that moment. And so the very same was at Miss America. I was like, well, unlike Texas, you can only compete at Miss America once. And so I was like, can't believe I'm here. Let me remember this moment. And so that was another thing where I was like, I just want to be able to cherish this silence before chaos ensues one way or another. And then I think that was the last bit was I remember standing and saying, you know what? First runner-up is hard, but the job of Miss America is also hard. And so for sure. I was standing there and I was like, either way, this is going to be hard, but I also have full confidence that either way, God is with me in that challenge and there is purpose in that happening. And so
and everybody else would trade places with you.
I will say it was a quieter thing. I think you were the only person that I had said something along the lines of like, I don't want to be first runner up just because to be at Miss America to begin with was such a dream come true. And so it's like, truly.
It's an honor.
Truly, it's an honor. I could have come in last and really have been okay,
So I do think whoever competes and wins Miss Texas next year, we're going to have to do a lot of prep on how do we handle the
Well, that's one thing. I think that was a piece of prep that was really difficult to prep for was how do you navigate the pressure of that week? Because I was following 2 first runner-ups, and Texas has a track record of doing well. And so there are a lot of people and lots of opinions. And if you're a Patreon member, you can hear more about that later. But yeah, I had called you several times that week freaking out. And then when the moment came, I think maybe it was just the surreal peace of God coming over me because I don't think you ever can fully anticipate how you're going to respond in that moment until you are in that moment.
You got a lot of positive praise for that.
Thanks. I stayed off social media for a few days. That was one thing on the way back from Miss America. First of all, I think some of my sweetest memories were actually right after the competition, going back into that top 10 dressing room with the other girls that I was like, we just experienced something that like very few can really relate to. And so getting to kind of revel in that with them. But then it was pouring rain outside when we were trying to get back to the hotel. And so it became this whole task of my dress was not one that was easy to pick up, right? There was a train, but it was down at my knees. And so I couldn't wrap it around my arm or whatever. So I had multiple people like trying to make sure my dress didn't get soaked on the concrete outside and trying to figure out how to get in the bus. And that was another moment.
So we're bust in your gowns. Okay, so
with all of our bags from the like dressing room and everything. So we're like all in gowns.
Okay, so for those who don't understand, in Orlando, the host hotel is a good 15-minute drive?
20 minutes
from the actual theater.
Yes.
Where it was being done. And so y'all would all bus there.
We all bussed, and it was very fun. Like that, it was a shuffle every day of who you ended up sitting with, and so it was an opportunity to meet new girls if you wanted it to be. I mean, you could really fight to sit with your best friend, or you could meet new girls. And so I really enjoyed the bus actually, and it gave you time to like decompress before you saw everybody, and that was really nice. But I remember riding back from finals, and it was very similar to what I was saying about standing there in the top two of, okay, that was a really fun experience. I want to be able to remember it that way, and I want to soak in this moment and everybody being so excited. And so I did not want to get on my phone because I did not want to know what people were saying about me or about Cassie. Like I felt so positive about all of it. And so I was like, let me just sit in that for a moment. And there was a sweet girl, I think it was Emily from Kansas, maybe. Yeah, check me out. I'll maybe go back to that. But it was very kind because I knew who from my team of people was going to be at visitation. And so I ended up luckily having my boyfriend's phone number memorized. And I was texting him, hey, I'm going to need your help getting my bag and all of these things. And she let me contact him on her phone. And that way I didn't fall into a social media spiral. But yeah, and that was like, I think a really wise choice on my behalf. Because I remember
you just chose not to look at your phone at all.
Yeah. Well, because I knew, people were probably very well intended, but, they're either going to do like, oh, you did great. Well, in my mind, there's like, well, thanks. There are surely hiccups throughout the night that I am scared that would lead me to fixate on. But at the same time, people are like, well, you should have won. And it's like, well, no, because Cassie did great too, and I want to be able to celebrate her, and like I had fun, but that's not at the expense of somebody else, and I just really didn't want other people's opinions in that moment. And so I knew if I got on my phone, whether it be social media or a well-intended but maybe misfired text message, I just didn't want somebody else biasing such a special moment. So I stayed off of it.
So I think that illustrates a good principle that we teach in mental management, which is called the principle of focus. Wherever you are, be all there. And I think you were demonstrating that in that moment. Like right now, you needed to be present with your sisters, let your boyfriend help you with your bags. I mean, let yourself enjoy the moment and what was really right there with you, and not be distracted by the glowing rectangle that has all of the drama on it.
Right. And like, again, people could be very well-intending, but things can also just get messy and mistranslated over the phone. And so I was just like, you know what? They were not actually the ones competing, and they were not actually there. So I'm just going to be actually there.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. You did amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
I was very proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, I never know how it's going to shake out.
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm not a judge. And so I always think you're capable. I knew it was possible, but I also really thought that several of the girls did amazing. And so
it's like, I think what's interesting was at Texas, at least, I think Southern hospitality. Like, there's a certain culture to, like, Miss Texas is always warm and she engages with the people around her. Like, I think that even with different personalities, you see something like that within Miss Texas every year. But at Miss America, I think what was so neat was, like, you have girls from all over the country that have different ideas of what it means to be a title holder and what it means to be a leader and what it means to be a friend, and none of those are innately bad, but they are different. And that's so cool to see how the judges panel like compare that. I can imagine that's very hard. I would never want to be a nationals judge, but I think that was very neat. Like, me and Cassie, I love her to pieces. I also think are pretty different people, and so are the other girls in top 5 and top 10. Like, you just have a great mix of girls, and so whether you win or not is like, okay, all of these girls are probably, like, we're all capable of being Miss America. Like, it truly could be anybody. It just is a matter of who those judges want on that given day. And sometimes, maybe it is a score thing of you need to grow in a certain category, but sometimes it's just, hey, the top 5 is equally great. This is just who we see as Miss America, and so
it's just how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's just how it shakes out. And I think it's easy to say that watching the pageant, but being there and actually getting to, like, really know the girls and be like, you're awesome and you're awesome and you're awesome.
Was everybody awesome?
I mean, I think they were. I also will say with Miss America, it is challenging because you show up and you don't know anybody, and you have 1 week to get to know 51 other girls as well as you can, which is impossible to know everybody equally and to know everybody deeply. And so, I mean, I had my handful of really close friends, and there are a lot more girls that I wish I was able to spend more time with, but I'm also encouraged because, again, we all shared this very unique experience together that we can't share with anybody else outside of our circle. And so that's a lifelong thing that we'll be able to remember and hopefully carry with us.
What I thought was so interesting, after Miss America, I get a phone call, did I contact her? She contacted me. She contacted me. Shalene, who was Miss Colorado in 1994.
Yes.
Who was your mom's Miss America sister.
Yes.
So she messages me and she's like, I mean, her daughter's competing in Colorado, which is really, really cool. And not in Colorado, in Arizona. But she also has a couple of Miss America sisters who are one Miss America sister who your mom is also connected with, who they have a podcast. And the next thing you know, I'm on their podcast. And you just never know how everything's so, I don't know, small. Such a small world. Pageantry is such a small world. And so then weirdly connected to your mom's Miss America sisters.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool that I actually knew someone who was cheering you on.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Right.
Which was really fun.
Yeah. It was extremely special. So,
and if I would have won, I would have been that person. I didn't win Miss Colorado that year, obviously. But if I would have, I would have known your mom. We would have been friends in a different way. Oh,
right.
Anyway, so what do you think you learned from competing?
This is probably more of a testament to, like, my years of competing than just Miss America Week, but I think it truly culminated in Miss America Week. I think I learned how to enjoy the competition and value the competition, and obviously take it seriously and have goals and all that. But I also think over time I learned how to not tie my identity to it, which I think is really important in any leadership position, in any form of spotlight. Like, life changes fast, y'all. And similar to when I was a teen and I was devastated when I got first runner-up, I think what was so cool this time in getting first runner-up was this was the first pageant I had ever been in that afterwards I was like, well, that was a lot of fun. I didn't win this time. Yeah. And love the girl who did, and what's next? That was cool. I think it also helped that I did significantly better than I anticipated doing. And so it was a little bit easier to just kind of be like, okay, cool. And the dream was always Miss Texas. And so I know that in those circumstances, it was probably a little bit easier for me to be like, well, it was just a competition, But I also think that nods to the larger skill and the power of kind of just saying, okay, I know who I am and I can value Miss America, but also know that the results are not going to sway me, you know?
So let's talk about that for a second, because there's a lot of people that they may not be involved in pageantry, but they may have kids that are involved in sport.
Yeah.
And then they have their whole identity is wrapped up in, I have to be XYZ.
Yeah.
On XYZ team, or make XYZ, college team or whatever. How do you keep from having your whole identity wrapped up in what you do? Miss Future Counselor.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to say two things. One, I would hesitate in only doing that one thing. Like, if you say you put your identity in work, if you go to work, say it's a 9 to 5, and you're like, oh, I'm so good at this, I'm going to stay until 8, or like, I'm going to challenge myself and stay longer. And that's all you're doing every day, and you don't make an effort to have community outside of work. You don't make an effort to have hobbies. I think we're in a generation where people are losing hobbies. Like, nobody has hobbies anymore, you know? I think if you're not valuing time spent elsewhere, I'm like, well, of course your whole identity is going to wrap up in work. It is the only thing that you have put value to. And so I would challenge people to find a hobby, actually carve out time to spend with friends. And that does not just include, oh, I come home to my roommates every night. It's like, okay, but do you intentionally spend time with your roommates every night? I think being able to kind of find different pockets and spaces that way kind of helps give you some perspective. Okay, the world is a lot bigger than just your job, even if it is critically important, right? Like, the world is bigger than that. Oh gosh, I have to remember my second idea, and now I don't. But having the perspective is good. Oh, and then I was going to say to constantly challenge yourself. I think this is something I need to grow in all the time. I hate looking bad or feeling embarrassed. And like most people do, but it is like...
But like you have to get where you really want to go, you're going to be embarrassed at some point in time.
You have to be challenged. And to be challenged, guess what? You're not going to be good at it at first. And so I know me and Mallory Fuller Pendergast, like this is something we had talked about of after our pageant years, and I'm still in my pageant years, but I took a break between high school and coming back as a Miss. We both had become so practiced at trying to be on at all times, and an interview feeling like you need to know the answer to every question, that when it came time to, for me, I remember this, like going to college and trying to make new friends, or the shared experience that she and I had of when we started dating. And it was like, why does every date feel like a pageant interview? Like, how do I answer perfectly? I think finding experiences and places where you can safely fail at things, and be able to recognize that you are not going to be good at everything. You're not going to know the answer to everything. I actually think that in a weird way is going to turn around and make you better at the thing that you want to excel at. But it opens you up to be challenged so that you can grow.
I met someone, I was on a Zoom call with a group of clients, and one of the ladies said, she's like, I challenge myself to be a beginner at something. Every year I try something new so that I can be a beginner again. And I don't think I'm necessarily there where I'm a beginner all the time, but I saw the value in that, is that then you put yourself in a position to be embarrassed, put yourself in a position to be the new person.
Right.
And so you're humbled and just kind of brought that down to reality, so you can connect with people that you may be coaching or maybe mentoring or maybe influencing in some way, so that you're not perceived as always being perfect, because who can relate to that? Not me.
Yeah. And even like I'll throw myself under the bus in that one. I try to avoid things that I'm bad at, obviously. Like, it is not a good feeling to sit there and be like, I genuinely don't know how to do something, or I genuinely like don't know where to start, don't know even who to ask. Like, I feel incapable. My thing for that right now is figuring out financial aid and like, how do I apply these scholarships? Can I confirm that the scholarships are going to cover everything? Like, all of those financial discussions are very challenging and intimidating to me for some reason. And so that was my thing this morning, trying to navigate. And like, it's good for me. And then you get to the other side of it and you're like, oh, I did that. I may not have known how to do that, but you're always capable of growth. I think that's another thing that you're able to institute in always kind of challenging yourself. It's like, okay, I may not know the answer now, but to strengthen the skill and the feeling of, I may not know the answer, but I know how to grow and how to get there is really powerful.
How are you going to make the next 6 months worthwhile?
I want to lean more into my platform. September and October, I was told this the second I won Miss Texas, and I was like, yeah, okay, let me get through Miss America first. And then it proved to be true. September and October were by far my busiest months as Miss Texas. I have been nonstop traveling and going and moving and changing and all the things, which is so awesome and so fun. But a lot of it was appearances that Miss Texas has done for years, like very few of them were directly tied to like my platform or my school program and stuff like that. And so I'm super excited because I have a few days off this week, and so I get to start reaching out to some of the organizations and people that are a big passion of mine to work with. And a large reason why I'm here was to share my story of overcoming an eating disorder and trying to help empower and equip Texans to be able to navigate their own health journeys. And so I'm excited because I'm hoping to walk a little bit more into that path and do more work with I am too. Let's hope people respond to emails. I'm just going to start cold emailing everybody. It's going to be great.
You may want to actually pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, that's true. If I can find their number.
I think that would help. What would be your dream? Like, if you could create what it would be to advance your platform over the next few months before you give up your title in June, what would it look like? Because maybe somebody can help make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting about my platform is, it was inspired by my journey, but it is like overarching, integrating mental and physical health. So I would love to see some sort of collaboration. And I'm not even entirely sure who I would want this to be between, but I'm really passionate about integrating mental and physical health. So maybe that's NIH, maybe that's National Eating Disorder Association, maybe that's the Judd Foundation or the Judd, I don't know if it's foundation or project, but I would love to see a big mental health partner with a big physical health entity and see what can come of that. I want to expand my whole Daily Happy Things social media stuff. That was something that I did for fun I never intended for that to have any sort of ripple effect. It was just something I enjoyed posting.
I've seen a couple people
but people
post,
have started, and not even just like, I've had a few sweet pageant friends do their own version of it and tag me, which I love. Like, I love seeing them do that. I think one of my favorite ones recently is a pageant friend who was like significant. I said significantly. She's not significantly older than me. She's still competing age, but a girl who I'd always like looked up to as an older sister post it and be like, oh, it was inspired by Sadie. I think sometimes when we think about being a role model or making a change, I always think about like people who are younger than me, or maybe not, maybe they haven't competed as long or something like that. And to know that you can make an impact on people that are older and in different walks of life is really cool too. But
do you want people to post their daily happy things?
I want to make that a thing, because there have been a few people on TikTok that I'm like, I've never met you. There was a girl recently, she doesn't even follow me on TikTok, and she was like, I saw this girl do this and I wanted to do it too. And I was like, how neat is that? And I mean, that it's fun to be like, oh, it's just a fun thing, it spreads joy, whatever. But it's like, actually, when you look at the science of psychology, I want to say we have control over like 40% of our own happiness. Like, it's a pretty significant number. And a large part of that was boiled down to gratitude. And so I was like, is this like a cool and sneaky way that we could be helping people practice gratitude, So that's something that I never really meant to tie to my platform, but I think would be really cool to actually put effort into expanding. And then going back to like the actual root of my platform, I really want to partner with National Eating Disorder Association, or even the Alliance Force that we've talked about before. And I think now that Miss America is over, there was always this fear of, okay, I want to spread awareness about eating disorders and I want to share my story. But sometimes in competition, that can be mistranslated as like, oh, is she still sick? Is she strong enough to be able to do this? And so I always have to like walk that line very carefully when I'm competing. But guess what? I am done competing. And I think I've shown everybody that I am strong enough to do this role. And so I'm excited to speak a little more into that and hopefully share a little bit more of my story and make as much change as I can.
Well, I obviously would love for you to share your story and then get more people to either donate to organizations who are making an impact on eliminating or creating opportunities for people to heal from eating disorders. It just seems to be rising instead of declining, and so we need to do something about it. So let's help Sadie to fight eating disorders, and then also just increase the health here in Texas and nationwide. How can everybody follow you?
A few different ways. My personal page is Sadie Catherine S on Instagram, but then if you want specifically the pageant stuff, it is Miss America TX, and then both of those, at least Sadie Catherine S is also on TikTok. I don't remember the handle of the Miss Texas TikTok.
That's okay. I'll add it.
Thank you.
It'll be perfectly fine.
Thank
It'll
you.
be in the description.
It might be the same exact thing.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Yes. And now for our Patreon members. If you're not a Patreon member, please join. She Wins Solutions for Pageantry Patreon, because we're going to talk about some of the challenges that you faced at Miss America.
Yes.
And how you navigated those challenges.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.